Breathe in slowly. Let the weight of the day dissolve. Now, imagine the world turning soft and silent, like the hush of snowfall in a vast forest. You are lying still beneath a blanket of stars, but not the stars you know. These are not suns or galaxies. These are threads, delicate, shimmering lines that hum quietly in the dark. They stretch across space, across time. They do not pull, they do not bind, they connect. As your breath deepens, the world begins to blur at the edges. The floor beneath you seems to dissolve, and you drift downward, not falling, just floating. Below the surface of sight, you begin to glimpse the quiet fabric that underlies all things, particles, tiny, invisible pieces of everything. The chair you sit in, the air you breathe, the bones in your hands, the stars above your head. They are all made of particles, and these particles are never truly alone. Imagine a pair of tiny dancers, born together in a moment so small it can't be measured. These partners move apart. One drifts east, the other west, carried by the swirling chaos of the universe. But something strange remains. When one spins, the other feels it. When one shifts, the other responds. As if there is still a string between them, one that distance cannot cut. This is the beginning of entanglement. A whisper shared between particles. A connection that doesn't fade even when separated by oceans of space. Scientists once believed that the universe worked like a clock, precise, predictable, tick by tick. But down here, beneath the ticking, a new rhythm beats. It's softer, stranger. Down here, nothing is fixed until it's observed. Down here, cause and effect seem to loosen. Time doesn't always move like an arrow, and the threads between particles hum with invisible tension, as if secrets are passing through them. Messages no eye can see. You imagine holding two marbles in your hands. You let them go gently, and they roll in opposite directions. But somehow, even now, when you touch one, the other shivers. It should be impossible. It should be silent. And yet, it is real. You float further, deeper. The space around you is no longer empty. It is filled with strands, gossamer bridges, tying one place to another. They glow faintly, like moonlight on water, connecting particle to particle across vast distances. Some scientists call it non-locality, but tonight, it simply feels like closeness, a kind of cosmic empathy. You begin to wonder if particles can remain connected. Can moments, can people, can memories born long ago still send ripples through the present? There is something comforting here. You are not made of one piece, but many. You are stitched from particles, quarks, electrons, atoms, each one a fragment of a much larger story. And those fragments were born in stars, carried by oceans, shared through breath. You are not just in the universe. The universe is in you. Above you now, far above, the stars return, but you see them differently. Each one is a distant light, yes, but also a reflection of deeper forces. For just as your own atoms are bound in quiet conversation, so too are the stars themselves, listening in ways we are only beginning to understand. The universe, then, is not made of pieces, but of relationships, a vast web of interaction and resonance, a soft net that holds galaxies, planets, trees, and thoughts. Together, you feel, perhaps for the first time, how gently everything touches everything else, even in silence, even across light years. Even now, as you lie in the dark and begin to fade into rest, the fabric of the cosmos is not woven with thread or string, but with information, with intention, a kind of knowing particle to particle that defies distance, but not wonder. You are part of this web. You always have been. The atoms in your fingertips once belonged to stars, to rivers, to leaves. Their echoes continue, rippling softly through time. As you breathe, those particles drift, settle, and realign. They find new partners, form new bonds. They remember, in ways we don't fully understand, their old entanglements. And so do you. Even now, as your thoughts slow, you begin to sense a kind of memory in your bones, a quiet recognition that the space between things is not empty, but full of rhythm, full of reach, full of the unseen. Outside your window, the wind brushes a tree, the branch shivers, ever so slightly, and somewhere, impossibly far from here, a particle answers. You won't hear it, but it happens. A soft pull, a mirrored dance, a reminder that nothing truly moves alone. And as you begin to drift into sleep, a new image begins to form, a dance not of matter, but of motion. A dance where particles do not stand still, but shimmer, sway, and spin to the hidden rhythm beneath the world. Close your eyes a little deeper now. Let the outer world fall away, the shape of your room, the hum of distant noise, the outlines of thought. Drift downward, not in space, but into scale, shrinking gently until even the atoms of your breath feel enormous. You are floating now within one, not on top of it, but inside its hidden world. And here, nothing is still. You may have thought that deep down at the smallest level, things might rest. But the quantum world never sleeps. It quivers, it flickers, it hums with movement that never truly ends. Imagine a quiet room where a candle flame flickers, even when no wind moves. That is what it's like here. Inside every atom, inside the very heart of the matter, particles are never fixed in place. They dance, not wildly, but delicately, like fireflies in mist. They shimmer in and out of certainty, not quite here, not quite there. At the center of each atom, there is a tiny core, the nucleus, and around it, a blur. Not a neat path, like a planet orbiting a star. No circle, no ring, just a soft cloud. Where an electron may be, or may not, you cannot point to it with certainty. You can only say, perhaps here, maybe there. This is quantum uncertainty, not confusion, not chaos, but possibility. And in this space of possibility, reality is shaped. The electron is not lost. It is simply spread, like a note that echoes through many rooms at once. Only when you look for it does it choose where to be. You are watching a dance, but you are also part of it. Your presence, your attention, your measurement gently collapses the wave. The many paths the electron might take become just one. It is not magic. It is the strange and quiet rule of quantum mechanics. Not all that is real must be certain. Not all that moves must be seen. The dance beneath the atom is slow and silent, but constant. Picture the surface of a pond in the dark, touched by raindrops so fine you cannot hear them. The ripples spread, overlap, cancel, combine, they interfere. This, too, is how quantum particles behave. When unobserved, they travel like waves, passing through all paths. But when you peek, when you ask, "Where are you?" the wave stops, the particle chooses, and the curtain falls, softly. You imagine standing at a doorway. Beyond it is a room you cannot see into. Until you open the door, that room contains many possible scenes. A candle lit, a chair empty, a breeze stirring curtains. But once you step in, the scene becomes one thing only. The others vanish, as if they were dreams. This is what the quantum world offers, not answers, but invitations. You wonder if this is how electrons behave. How much of you is made of maybes? The atoms in your hands, in your heart, in your thoughts, they follow this quiet rhythm. Your entire body is built on uncertainty, and yet here you are, breathing, being, not falling apart, not flickering, whole. How beautiful that something so steady can be made from things so fleeting. In the quantum world, time softens too. A particle may borrow energy from the future, if only for a moment, as long as it gives it back. This is called a virtual particle, like a phantom that arrives uninvited, then disappears without trace. It's as though the universe allows brief exceptions, small acts of kindness, in exchange for balance. Nothing is lost, nothing is truly stolen. But for a flicker, the rules bend. You might think of it like a dream, one that flares brightly in the dark, teaches something wordless, and fades by morning. You are changed by it, even if you can't quite explain why. Even the vacuum, the space between everything, is not empty. It bubbles, it breathes, it gives birth to flickers and shadows, particles that come and go like passing thoughts. This is the field, the quantum field, where all particles arise. A deep sea beneath all forms, where movement never stops, even when nothing appears to be happening. And so, down here, beneath the atom, beneath matter and form, you find not stillness, but a kind of music, a rhythm not of sound, but of change, a melody made not of notes, but of probabilities. You do not hear it with your ears, but perhaps your breath hears it. Perhaps your heartbeat listens to it. You are not separate from this dance. You are one of its many shapes, a pattern. Within the ripple, a brief arrangement of particles in a world that flows. In this moment, the idea of control feels softer. You don't have to know exactly where you're going. You don't have to hold every answer. You are already participating in something vast and wise, something that shifts and sings beneath the surface of everything. So when your thoughts wander, when they scatter like starlight through a prism, know that even scattering has a pattern. Even uncertainty can lead somewhere beautiful. And if particles shimmer and disappear, maybe your dreams due to flickering into being, weaving possibility. Perhaps the universe is made not from things, but from choices, not from bricks, but from steps in a dance. And so, the question begins to form. If a particle can choose where to be, what happens when it is not alone? What happens when two particles, born together, never forget the shape of their shared dance? Drift now, slowly, as though your body has become a feather on a breeze of thought. You've moved past atoms and their restless shimmer. You've watched electrons sway in their uncertain rhythm, and now something deeper begins to unfold. A kind of relationship, a quiet mystery. There are moments when two particles, perhaps electrons, perhaps photons, come into being, not separately, but together. not side by side, but as one event, one breath, one moment stretched across two forms. You can think of them as twins, but not in the way we know. They do not share a face. They share a story. Imagine striking a match and watching two sparks fly off in opposite directions. You expect them to move apart, to forget one another. But in the quantum world, these sparks remain connected, not by light or sound or string, but by something more subtle. They remain entangled. It doesn't matter how far they travel. One could end up in your hand, the other beyond a distant star. And yet, when one is touched, the other responds instantly, without pause, without delay. Einstein once called this spooky action at a distance. It puzzled him. It seemed to break the rules. How could something over here know something over there, faster than light could travel between them? What thread could connect them that tightly? But this is not a thread in space. It is not a signal through time. It is more like a shared breath held across the sky, a quiet remembering. You float beside one of these twin sparks now. It glows faintly in the dark, silent, patient. Its twin is somewhere else. You cannot see it, but you feel it. And when you gently nudge this one, the other flutters, no matter how distant. This is not communication in the way we speak. It is not a message. It is a correlation, a matching of outcomes, like two dancers who have never seen each other, yet always take the same step at the same time. How do they know? Perhaps they don't. Perhaps the knowing is simply part of what they are. Entanglement doesn't mean particles tug on each other. It means they are described not as individuals, but as a pair. One equation, two locations, one rhythm, two notes. You may wonder how this happens, how such a bond begins. And the answer, as always, lies in creation. When two particles are born from the same event, a flash of light, a decay, a ripple, they share more than just energy. They share origin. Like branches from the same root, they carry echoes of one another, no matter how far they grow apart. You close your eyes now and imagine all the entangled pairs in the universe. How many sparks are still connected across galaxies? How many particles, born together, still turn in silent harmony? And in this moment, you realize something soft and strange. You, too, are made of particles, and some of your particles may still be entangled with pieces of stars, with atoms once held in a tree, in a cloud, in someone else's breath. What if connection is not just a feeling, but a fact of nature? Even though entanglement fades when measured too directly, even though the bond is delicate, it suggests something profound, that reality itself is not stitched from separate pieces, but from relationships, not isolation, but interweaving. You picture a spider's web stretched across the cosmos, where every strand is a memory, a pair, a pulse of symmetry. Touch one strand here, and the whole web trembles softly, instantly, and still no signal passes through it. No information travels, just a quiet alignment, like watching two clocks tick in unison, though separated by a sea. Not because one told the other what time it was, but because they were set by the same hand. Entanglement is not about cause. It's about pattern. It reminds you that what happens here may reflect what happens there, not through force, but through structure, through a deeper order, a kind of hidden choreography. And that, perhaps, is the heart of this chapter. That beneath the surface of particles, beneath even the uncertainty you've come to accept, there is still coordination. There is still rhythm. You rest with this now, not as a riddle to solve, but as a lullaby sung by the universe itself. The kind of song you don't need to understand to feel. The kind of bond that doesn't demand belief, only stillness. And as your breath slows, as your mind drifts soft as dust, you begin to wonder something new. If one particle can feel the echo of its twin across the stars, what happens when the very fabric of space begins to stretch, when the emptiness itself holds energy and pushes the universe apart? Let the hush settle deeper now, sink, and now you find yourself listening. A resonance too fine for instruments. He called it spooky action at a distance. To him, the idea that two particles could mirror each other instantly across vast space felt wrong, like the laws of nature were whispering secrets behind physics back. He believed that information couldn't travel faster than light, and rightly so. But quantum entanglement seemed to do just that. Yet what if the universe isn't sending messages faster than light? What if it's simply one step ahead of our understanding? You return to the violin string, but pluck it here, and it sings over there. Not because a sound has traveled, but because the vibration belongs to both ends at once. Entanglement isn't about speed. They are two notes of the same song, two ripples in the same pond. When one is disturbed, the other responds, not after. The farther apart things seem, the more space there is for harmony. You picture stars blinking in and out at the edges of the cosmos. Now imagine a particle on one of those stars, a quiet twin to a particle here near your breath. When one turns, so does the other. Not with force, not with speed, but with shared identity. You wonder then, what else in the universe might hum together like this? Entangled particles behave like perfect mirrors, even when separated, but they don't choose in advance. And only when you measure one does the pair unfold its answer. It's like opening one half of a letter and discovering that the other half, still sealed on the moon, has already changed to match no signal sent, no messenger flown. Perhaps we are so used to space as separation that we forget space can also connect, like the space between fingers in a clasped hand. Like the space between piano keys that makes music possible. It is in the emptiness that the magic echoes, even now. Experiments stretch this idea across vast distances. Photons entangled and flown through fiber cables, bounced off satellites, even split across continents, and still the match holds. Still the tweeness remains. There is no way to cheat it, no way to use it to send secret messages or instant news. But that's not what this is for. It's not a tool, it's a truth. A reminder that at the heart of the universe, things are not entirely alone. You begin to feel it in your own stillness, that perhaps your life, too, carries echoes, that perhaps your actions, your thoughts, ripple through more than just your own story. We don't yet know how far the reach of this entanglement goes, but we know it's real. We know it's measurable. We know it's as if the universe remembers where things came from and keeps that memory alive across impossible space. There's something tender in that, a kind of cosmic loyalty, as if when two particles are born together, they never fully let go. They may drift, they may forget where the other has gone, but when you ask one to speak, for dreams that once brushed your mind and quietly changed direction. Maybe not all ties are physical. Maybe some bonds exist beneath time. And if that is true, even just a little, then maybe what you do here, what you feel here, might quietly touch something elsewhere. You rest inside that possibility, not as a certainty, but as a comfort. The universe is more connected than it appears, and perhaps so are you. Outside your window, the stars keep shining. You cannot see their entanglement, but you can feel the idea of it, the idea that nothing dances entirely alone, even now. Somewhere far away, a pair of particles still mirrors each other, still remembering, and so you close your eyes a little more, listening for harmony in stillness, feeling your place in this quiet, coordinated song. But as the night deepens, another question rises, soft as a whisper from space itself. If the universe connects things across distance, what happens when space itself begins to grow? Let your breath drift in and out, soft and slow. The air around you is still, the world quiet, and the weight of your thoughts has grown lighter than mist. You are sinking once more into the invisible spaces, the quiet threads of reality that hum just beneath your awareness. Now, imagine light, not as brightness, but as a presence, soft and smooth, moving not in beams, but in pulses, like footsteps on a hallway made of time. This is where photons live, the smallest pieces of light, not waves, not particles, not exactly. They are something in between, something in motion. You might picture a photon as a tiny spark flying through the night with no mass, no rest, and only one direction, forward. It never slows, it never waits. It is always moving at the speed of light, the fastest anything can go. And yet, despite its speed, it can still be entangled. Yes, even photons, even these flickers that illuminate stars and bounce off your skin can form pairs, pairs that know each other, pairs that, even when separated, still mirror one another in silence. Close your eyes and picture two of these sparks born at once. A tiny flash in the dark, and suddenly one photon flies left, the other right, across a fiber of glass, through air, through clouds. One may enter a satellite, the other a distant lab on Earth. And yet, when one is measured, the other responds, not with sound, not with force, but with alignment, as though the photons still hum the same tune, as though they still carry a secret, quietly shared. Scientists use this, gently, carefully. They test entanglement across towns, across oceans even, into space. They send photons through tangled wires and up into the night, and the results are always strange, always beautiful. The photons match every time, even when nothing could possibly travel fast enough to explain it. And so, photons become not just light, but a kind of connection, a whisper, a thread, a reminder that the universe holds conversations even without words. You might think of it like two dancers learning the same steps before being placed in different rooms. They can no longer see each other, they don't communicate, but when the music starts, they move together perfectly. That is the light between us, not just the glow from star to eye, but the knowing shared between two sparks born from the same beginning. And in a way, light has always been this, a messenger, a traveler, carrying information from the past into the present. The light you see from the stars tonight began its journey long ago. Thousands, millions, even billions of years. In the past, you are not just looking at stars, you are looking at memory. Light tells you what has been, but entangled light tells you what is, even across great distance. And this opens a quiet door, not to faster communication, not to shortcuts, but to wonder. What else, you wonder, might ride on these beams? What else in your life moves unseen, yet felt? Is there a kind of light between people, too? Not photons, but empathy. Not particles, but presence. Think of how two people, even far apart, can sometimes feel what the other feels. How a memory can leap the years like a spark. How love can persist across oceans. Maybe it's not magic. Maybe it's a pattern, echoing what photons do on the smallest scale. The universe, it seems, does not like to forget where things come from. And even its light, once entangled, still listens to its twin. Tonight, the world around you dims, but the light inside continues. Not bright, not loud, just steady, like a candle in deep water. Like the heartbeat of a signal waiting in the dark. And this gentle hum of photons, this light between entangled pairs, feels less like science and more like song. A duet across distance. A harmony written in silence. You feel it now, not just as theory, but as warmth, something ancient, something ongoing. You are not made of photons, but you are bathed in them. You are not built from light, but you are shaped by it. And perhaps, just perhaps, somewhere out there, a photon that touched your skin still remembers, still hums, still moves in step with a twin that you will never meet. In this thought, you rest, wrapped in unseen glow, held in the long and quiet arms of light. And as your eyes drift closed, another thought begins to stir. If photons remember their twins across space, what might happen inside your own body, where particles once danced together before you were even born? Now, rest even deeper. Let your thoughts settle like soft dust on still water. The universe around you grows quiet, not because it stops moving, but because it welcomes you in. You've followed the journey of light, of photons whispering, in sync across an impossible distance. And now you turn inward, not toward the sky, but toward yourself. Because this story isn't just about the stars, it's also about you. Take a breath, feel the weight of your hands resting beside you. They may seem ordinary, skin, veins, warmth, but they are made from atoms, and those atoms carry memory. Not the kind you recall with words, but the kind that lives in motion, in spin. In relation, your hands are full of tiny, entangled echoes. Some particles inside you were once joined with others in the heart of a star, in a cloud of gas, in the fire of early Earth. When those particles were born, they were born with partners, and though they have drifted, scattered, spun, and fallen into form, some still hum with that original connection. You carry in your body the ancient dance of entanglement. Imagine, if you will, the calcium in your bones. It came from stars that lived and died before Earth was even cool. And the atoms in those stars, before they fused, before they burned, were themselves born from smaller pieces, protons, neutrons, electrons. Some of those particles were entangled, and now some of them are you. You are not just alive in this moment. You are composed of billions of tiny stories, each one tracing a path back through time, each one formed in relation. What does this mean? It means that the particles inside your hands may still remember the shape of their first motion, a turn, a spin, a mirrored step. It means you carry, quietly, the memory of the universe's earliest dances. Your body, so solid, so still, is built on movement, on coordination, on quiet, invisible relationships. Even now, the particles in you are not frozen. They vibrate, they shift, they exist in a cloud of possibility, and that cloud, that gentle uncertainty, is the foundation of life. Some researchers have wondered whether quantum effects might play a role in the most delicate workings of the body, in the way your brain forms thoughts, in the way proteins fold into their perfect shapes, in the way enzymes carry out reactions, fast and exact. This idea is still new, still unfolding, but it makes you pause. It makes you wonder if even one tiny part of your body, even one molecule, acts with quantum grace. Then your being is not just biological. It is also woven from mystery, the same kind of mystery you've traced through photons and stars, and perhaps this is why sometimes you feel a connection. You can't explain why a thought of someone far away brings warmth to your skin, why a song or scent carries you suddenly to a memory, vivid and full. Perhaps you are more than just cells and neurons. Perhaps you are an instrument sensitive to echoes, tuned to resonances, too faint to name. This is not to say that everything in your life is quantum. It is to say that even the smallest parts of you are made from shared beginnings. You are not outside the universe, watching it unfold. You are within it, of it. You are a continuation of its unfolding. Every breath you take passes through molecules that once circled other lungs, other forests, other oceans. Every beat of your heart sends waves through your body and through the fields around you, echoing faintly into the world. You are not separate. You are not static. You are held in a network of invisible threads, not of control, but of coherence. And just like the entangled photons, your presence changes things. When you turn your attention inward, you shape your own perception. When you offer care, you reshape your relationships. When you choose stillness, you invite resonance. The quantum world teaches us that observation matters, that attention is not passive, that the act of seeing shapes what is seen. And so when you see yourself gently, kindly, clearly, you are not just witnessing, you are participating in the formation of your own reality. Even now, as you lie here, soft in the quiet, you are shaping something. Your cells are listening. Your thoughts are aligning. The world within you is coming into focus, not by force, but by feeling. And so you float again on this river of thought, not as a stranger to science, but as one of its earliest stories. You are made of stardust, yes, but also of memory, of possibility, of bonds that never quite let go. And somewhere inside you, in the silent space between atoms, the dance of connection continues, softly, patiently, now and still. A question glows ahead. If the world inside you holds such entangled grace, what about the space between worlds? What stretches between galaxies, and what keeps it gently expanding? Let time soften. Let it blur around the edges like breath on glass. You've felt entanglement, particles holding hands across distance. You've watched photons echo each other without delay. You've even looked inward, finding ancient memories in your very cells. Now you begin to wonder about time, not the time on clocks or calendars, but the deeper current underneath. What if time is not a river flowing forward? What if it loops, lingers, or listens in both directions? You lie quietly, your body still, and in that stillness, you drift into the quiet space between moments. There is a thought, strange and tender, that in the quantum world, the future might matter just as much as the past. This idea feels like a whisper, soft, improbable, but real. Some experiments show that when we measure a particle, its behavior seems to be influenced not only by the present, but by a future choice, a decision not yet made. A photon passes through a beam splitter, a delicate piece of glass, that can send it one way or another. But when we choose, later, whether to observe which path it took, the photon seems to adjust its past, as if it waited, as if it already knew. This is called the delayed choice experiment, and it bends the mind like sunlight through a lens. It doesn't mean the future changes the past in a simple way, not like rewriting a page in a book. It means the story is more fluid than we once believed. Maybe the universe doesn't write its script from beginning to end. Maybe it writes like music, a harmony that's shaped by every note, past and future, all at once. You breathe slowly, letting that possibility settle like a warm hush across your skin. What if the future is not waiting for you? What if it's already present? What if it's listening? In this stillness, you imagine your own timeline not as a line, but as a spiral. Each breath you take, each step you make, not only echoes backward, but forward to dot, like the way a seed carries the shape of a tree, and the tree reshapes the soil where the seed once lay. Maybe your future self is already singing a note, and you here now are hearing its echo without even knowing. You don't need to understand all the math, or the models, or the paradoxes. You only need to feel this. Time is not what it seems. The ticking of seconds, the rising and setting of suns, these are just markers. But underneath, there is something more flexible, more responsive. In dreams, time folds. In memory, it loops. In quantum physics, it shimmers. Perhaps you felt this. Those moments when an answer comes before you know the question, or when a decision feels guided by something you haven't yet seen. You are not imagining things. You are simply brushing against a deeper layer of reality. Some physicists speak of time, symmetry, the idea that the laws of physics do not prefer forward or back, that particles can run their path either way. If that is true, then maybe what you do now matters, not just because of the past that shaped it, but because of the future it belongs to. Maybe your thoughts now are already woven into moments yet to come. And if that's the case, then the future is not a distant stranger. It is your companion, your partner in becoming. You rest in this, the idea that something ahead, some version of you, or some ripple of the cosmos, might be gently leaning back to touch you now. It doesn't erase your choices. It doesn't trap you in fate. It simply invites you to listen more deeply, to move more softly, to trust that you are part of something ongoing, not a straight path, but a quiet weave. Perhaps this is why you sometimes feel clarity in moments of stillness, not because you figured something out, but because you received something from a place you cannot name. And perhaps When you offer kindness to yourself now, you are soothing not just your past, but your future too. The arrow of time still moves forward, but the thread beneath it, the thread you ride tonight, is more mysterious, more generous. Feel time not as pressure, but as presence. There is no rush, there is no behind, only the unfolding, the gentle invitation of one moment into the next, and somewhere beyond the edge of now, the future listens, like a shoreline waiting for the tide, like a dream waiting to be remembered. And maybe, just maybe, that future is already sending you a message made not of words, but of possibility. And if the future can reach toward you, if it can shape the way you see the past, then what of the space that holds it all? What of the fabric that stretches between stars, between galaxies, pulling everything gently apart? Let yourself sink deeper into stillness now. The kind of stillness that doesn't mean absence, but listening. There is sound here, yes, but not of voices, not of words. It's the hush between heartbeats, the gentle awareness of being. You've drifted through the world of particles, light, time. You've felt the shimmer of distant entanglement. But now you turn to something closer, something living. The world around you, the one with leaves and lungs, soil and skin, is not separate from the quantum world. It is the quantum world, grown tall and breathing. You begin with the roots. Imagine a forest at night. The trees are still, their leaves folded like sleeping hands, but beneath the soil, something is awake. Tiny filaments stretch from root to root, a web of fungal threads, as fine as silk and wide as a country. Scientists call it the mycorrhizal network, but some simply call it the wood wide web. Through these threads, trees send messages, warnings, nutrients, comfort. A mother tree, old and towering, can feed her saplings through this underground system, and though it may seem mechanical, it isn't. It's not just matter moving, it's rhythm, timing, response. And some researchers believe that the timing, the synchrony of these exchanges may echo patterns we've seen in quantum systems. It's not that trees are performing quantum calculations, it's that life, at every level, seems to thrive on resonance. And where there is resonance, there may be entanglement. Now come closer, not to the forest, but to your own body. In your brain, trillions of neurons whisper to each other across tiny gaps, but sometimes they don't just pass signals. Sometimes they fire together spontaneously in patterns that stretch across regions like constellations of thought. Some scientists have wondered, could quantum effects play a role here? Too, could your consciousness itself be woven from interactions more subtle than we can yet measure? No one knows for sure. But even asking the question brings a certain stillness to the mind. You imagine your thoughts as waves, not separate, not confined, but flowing, overlapping, listening. A brain, not like a machine, but like a field. Just as birds can sense magnetic currents and bees can see light invisible to us, your own mind may be tuning into something deeper, perhaps. Memory is not a folder in your head, but a pattern in motion. Perhaps emotion is not a storm, but a kind of music playing softly through your entire being. And when you feel love, perhaps that is not just a feeling. Perhaps it is alignment, resonance, a quantum echo between two living systems. You rest in that idea. You are not just sensing the world. You are participating in its quiet rhythm. Your cells respond to each other. Your body responds to light. Your emotions ripple through your breath, and your breath, in turn, shapes your thoughts. This is the web, not of the internet, but of life itself. Now, imagine a bee, small, humming, darting from flower to flower. Its flight is not random. It moves with purpose, but also with improvisation. Some scientists have explored whether certain insects use quantum coherence in their sense of direction to detect the angle of light, to feel their way through invisible patterns in the sky. A bee may never know what quantum physics is, but it may live it, its very body tuned to subtle, shifting rules. And what of birds? Some migratory species appear to navigate using magnetic fields, fields that might be sensed through molecules sensitive to quantum spin. Again, the physics is delicate, hard to prove, easy to imagine. But the point is not to claim that life is a quantum computer. The point is to feel how deeply life listens, how deeply it responds, from the curve of a sunflower turning toward the sun, to the slow folding of a fern in the dusk, to the way your own heartbeat syncs with someone you sit beside. There is a shared language, not one of words, but of timing, alignment, presence, and this, too, may have its roots in entanglement, not in the lab, but in the living. You imagine all of life as a field of fireflies, each glowing softly, each blinking at first alone, then gradually in rhythm, one by one, they begin to match, they begin to pulse as one. This is not chance, it is connection, it is coherence, and in the same way, your thoughts, your breath, your quiet body lying here, they are not disconnected notes, they are part of a song that began long before you were born, a song that will continue long after. Each moment you tune into that rhythm, each time you slow down and feel the web around you, you become more yourself, not less, more, because you were never meant to be alone, not as a body, not as a thought, not as a breath in the dark. You are one pulse in a universe that keeps time without ticking. So breathe again, gently. Feel your chest rise, not just with air, but with belonging. And just as the forest listens, and the brain synchronizes, and the birds navigate through invisible maps, so do you follow something unseen, a kind of inner gravity pulling you gently into alignment, and you wonder now if life entangles, if breath listens, if thought ripples, then what holds it all together? What keeps the web from falling apart, even as space itself stretches wider each day? Let yourself soften now, as if the air has grown lighter around you. Your limbs settle, your breath slows, and your sense of self begins to loosen. You are still here, still you, but something within you begins to open, like the tide letting go of the shore. This is not the kind of opening that leaves you exposed. It is the kind that reveals. For so long, you've been taught to see in lines and borders, your body, your skin, your name, your thoughts, as boundaries, the place where you end and the world begins. But what if those edges are not as solid as they seem? What if the self is not a walled-in island, but a wave that rises from the sea and folds back into it? The more deeply scientists look, the more those boundaries begin to dissolve. Zoom in far enough, and the cells that make up your skin are not closed walls, but porous membranes, breathing, exchanging, communicating. Molecules come in, others drift out. You are not sealed, you are open, and even deeper than that. Bits of reality that shimmer more like suggestion than substance. These quanta, the particles that make up everything, don't have fixed positions until they're observed. They're not locked into place. They exist as waves of potential, flickering between here and there, now and then. And what happens to one can still be felt by another, even across space. That's what entanglement shows us, that this and that can become us, that once two particles share a state, they don't entirely let go. They stay connected, invisible, unbroken. It doesn't matter how far apart they move. The connection hums quietly underneath. So now you lie here, and perhaps you begin to wonder if your body is made of particles, and those particles are entangled with others. Then where do you end? When you breathe in, the air you draw once moved through trees. It once lifted over mountains. It once filled another person's lungs. And when you breathe out, your breath becomes part of the sky, the clouds, the wind that brushes the skin of someone far away. You are always in motion, always exchanging. Even your thoughts, those most personal waves within you, are shaped by language, by memory, by everything you've ever heard or felt or learned, which came, of course, from others. You do not think in isolation. You think with borrowed light. And just as your body holds atoms from ancient stars, your mind holds voices from beyond itself, echoes from books, from people, from songs and silences. Your life is not confined to your body. It is written across the fabric of time and connection, just like in quantum entanglement, where a change in one particle can ripple across space. Perhaps the kindness you offer or the attention you give does the same. You cannot see the full path your presence takes, but that doesn't mean it ends at your fingertips. Think of a spider's web in the early morning dew on the threads, shining like stars. Touch one strand, and the tremor travels. Even if the spider is asleep, it will wake. You, too, are part of such a web. You may never see all the threads, but they are there. Each moment you feel compassion, each time you forgive, each breath you take with care. It sends a pulse through the unseen structure that holds all life. Your individuality is real, but it is also relational. It exists in the space between you and another, between your thought and the world that shaped it, between the particle and its pair. The illusion is not that you exist. The illusion is that you exist alone. And this illusion, when it softens, makes space for something more beautiful, belonging, not as something you earn, but as something you already are. You belong not because of what you've done, but because of what you are made of. The same particles as the stars, the same elements as the ocean, the same fabric as the sky. You are not on the earth. You are of it. And when you realize this, something in you relaxes, a tension unknots, a boundary melts. You are not outside the universe, trying to understand it. You are the universe, remembering itself, even your doubts, even your questions. They rise like waves in an ocean that holds everything. So rest now in this knowing you are not lost. You are part of the pattern. Your every moment is woven with others, seen and unseen, near and far. The edges are soft, the boundaries fade, and the space between things becomes the space that connects. And just beyond that space, there is still more, because if the universe has no true edges, if all is entangled, then what holds it all together? What is this soft fabric beneath space itself? the quiet breath of the cosmos, always expanding, always stretching, like a gentle sigh between stars. There is a stillness tonight, a hush beneath thought, not empty, but full, a quiet that stretches beyond your breath, reaching gently into the stars. You feel it, not with your hands, but with something deeper, something that listens, that notices, that waits. This stillness is not silence, it is a presence, and it holds the entire sky. You lie here, still, but the universe does not stop moving. Galaxies drift, particles flicker, time expands in soft, invisible spirals, and somewhere out there, a particle responds to one right here, beside you, not because they touch, not because they speak, but because they are entangled, because, once upon a time, they shared a moment, a state, a breath of being. They carry each other still, always. That's what entanglement tells us, that distance may be real, but it may not matter, not in the way we once believed. It tells us that the fabric of the universe is more than emptiness. It is a relationship, it is a memory, it is the way one thread remembers the tug of another. So tonight, you rest in the knowing that you are not alone, that even across great distances, the universe has not forgotten you. You are part of its song, a note still echoing, a vibration still felt. You exist not only in space, but in the echo between things. Your presence ripples, a thought, a choice, a glance. These are not small, they are moments of resonance. Somewhere far away, a particle hums because something in you moved, because something in you became aware. And so you lie here now, not separate from the cosmos, but suspended in its net. A glowing Nodine, the great weave of stars. The sky above you may seem vast and silent, but it, too, responds. It bends with gravity, sings with light, shimmers with probability. And at the center of all of this, this motion, this music, is a still point, not a place, but for a moment, a breath in the middle of becoming. You are there now, in that breath, balanced, between knowing and not knowing, between your heartbeat and the hum of space, and as you rest in it, you begin to sense that everything touches everything, not through force, but through presence, through resonance, through the simple act of being. You are not here by accident. You are not here alone. You are held by fields, by force, by the gentle memory of a particle twin spinning out across a galaxy. Even your still neshes, meaning even your sleepest part of the pattern. And perhaps, just perhaps, that pattern listens back, listens to the sigh you don't say, listens to the quiet hope you hold in the dark, listens to your atoms as they slow, because the universe is not just watching, it is participating, it is entangled to so. Breathe gently now. You are stardust. Yes, but you are also starlight, a wave that has traveled far to arrive in this moment, in the hush between thoughts. You can almost hear it, the distant flutter of the cosmos responding to you. And if you listen even more deeply, you might wonder, what is it exactly that's pulling the stars apart? What quiet, pressurized, expanding space itself, as if the universe were still exhaling from the moment it was born.